Lew Rockwell, Lewrockwell.
In your position with the Institute?
I'm chairman of the Institute. They can't actually force things on people. If the people sufficiently resist, the government is such a minority as compared to they can't actually just set out to shoot everybody. It's really ever since maybe the beginning of the human race, the race between power and market. So you have the government always trying to do things in the market, but the government really depends on the consent of the governed. It's one of the great sort of secret truths of political science. They can't just force everything. Even a totalitarian government depends at least on the tacit consent, that people think, well, it's not worth me risking my life. It's not worth, really, it might be something worse if we get rid of Stalin or whatever. They don't like Stalin, but they don't actively oppose him. If people actively oppose a government, we saw it again just in Cyprus, in this one particular issue, the government can't stand against the people. Something we should always keep in mind. We have the power if we choose to exercise it. So there are all these things. I think the whole monetary system rests on a knife edge. But my guess is, just like in Cyprus, when things go wrong from the government standpoint, it's going to be something none of us are expecting. You know, they've been working on Italy, they're working on Spain, they're working on Greece. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, this little tiny country in the Mediterranean may bring down the entire euro system because the banks are all bankrupt. Every single bank is bankrupt because of fractional reserves. No bank, whether it's your little community bank or Bank of America or whatever, can stand if people seek to get their money out, because the money isn't there. They've loaned it out, and who knows what else they've done with it. Your money isn't in the bank. So it's, by the way, a good reason for your own standpoint, and also to undermine the banking system. Don't keep your money in the bank. To the extent that you can not keep all your savings in a banking account. By the way, why should you do it? They're paying you nothing for it. So just keep the transactional funds you need. Business, of course, has to have more than an individual. Don't use the banks as a storage place. They can't then pyramid on it, inflate on it, and you're better off. Something's going to happen. I guess it won't be something like China selling their bonds. It's going to be something just out of seemingly nowhere, because the system is extremely unstable. The Fed, you just look at the Fed balance sheet, you look at anything of what the federal government is doing. It really is. These are interesting times to be living in, even though maybe upsetting times too. But they're doing just. It's like insane men took over the Fed. As bad as the Fed has always been, I look back to a guy like William Volcker, who seemed like the greatest guy ever as compared to these guys, who actually stopped the inflation. I mean, actually cut the money printing by dramatically, and stopped the terrible troubles of the Nixon and the Carter years. So, but you know, Volcker is gone, and now we get Bernanke, and we had before him Greenspan. And these guys are mad money printers of a sort that, you know, we've had them in Weimar and Zimbabwe, I mean, in plenty of Serbia, plenty of other countries, but never have they had the whole world under their boot like these guys. And of course, the dollar is the world reserve currency, so it affects everybody. And
sure,
I don't know what's ahead, but it's not good.